Okay, so welcome back everybody. So in the first part of this tutorial, we actually went ahead and created this little script here. Um, Today what we're gonna do is we're gonna be moving away from BlueJ and we're gonna be moving into a new software called processing. It is not ideal to create applications, I know that. We're just going to be using it because it's very easy to use. You can easily draw stuff on screen. And if you install the Android extension, you can actually also easily export it for Android, which we can then use in Android Studio. So I want you to get started by downloading this if you want to stick with the video. Um, so do that and let's get started. So for now, we're just gonna open up this one. We're not gonna copy any of the script over right now. We wanna go ahead and type in void setup, which is gonna be our setup method, and void draw, which is gonna be drawing all the graphics on screen. Now inside the setup method, you want to go in and we want to select the size for our application. I'm going to go with 500 pixels times 500 pixels. And that's pretty much that. Now let's select the background color just to get things started. I'm going to go with 0. This either works in the RGB scale way. You can also add opacity, or you can just select a color, a grayscale color. We're just gonna go with black for now. Okay, so that's that. Now the way processing works is if we get this over here, the top left corner is your reference point, the 0, 0 point. X's grow to the right and Y's grow downwards. So if I go ahead and draw a rectangle, we call it rect. Then we give the upper left coordinate of the rectangle, once on the X and once on the Y, and we actually need to fill it with something to be able to see this. So with fill, you can fill shapes or change the color of text. So we're gonna go with rect, and we're gonna put it, let's say, right in the middle. And then you first type the width and then the height. So I'm gonna go 100 on the width and like 40 on the height. And if we run this now, you're gonna be seeing this. Okay, great. We can also change the stroke, which is basically the color of the rectangle from the outside. But we're gonna leave that for now. Now we want to get things started with our menu screen. So what we're actually going to be doing is we are going to be initializing, we're going to create a new integer that we're going to call level, and we're actually going to set the starting value to 0. And then we just go ahead and take this out and we put an if function and we say if level equals 0. Open bracket, close bracket, and then we can get started. Now, first things first, I want to get started with our menu screen. I just want you to be able to select like a password length, and I want the text to be in white, and I want it to be centered. So first things first, we're gonna go with fill. Actually, the first thing that has to come is the background because it resets everything on screen every time the draw function is called. The draw function is called x times per second, which is pretty much your frame rate. We're gonna go ahead and put a background that's black. Then we're gonna fill and we're gonna go with white text. Then we're gonna go with text align, which aligns the text. We want it to be centered. We want it to be center. The first center is for X, the second one is for Y. And then we want to type some, then we need a text size. Now, because the our screen is gonna have different sizes on different devices, I actually came up with a pretty smart idea on how to change the text size based on what device we're gonna be using. So my select text size is 27. We're gonna do times width times height, and then we're gonna divide it by 250,000. Now, the reason I'm doing this, and this one needs to say text size, 27 is my desired text size, or like anything of that ratio when it comes to other displays. So anything that has like the same aspect ratio compared to the screen. 250K is basically our the size of our current window, which is 500 times 500. You get 250K. And then if I do 27 times width times height, and then divided by that, we get, we get a text that should be, that should work with any size of display. So now we want to go ahead and type in some text. So the text function works like this. First you type text, then you put these two brackets, and then you type in anything pretty much as a string. So we're gonna go ahead and say select, we're gonna go with select password length. Close, and then we select an X and a Y coordinate. I'm gonna go for the middle. The middle is pretty much 250. Now, we cannot use numeric values because on other displays that would not work. So you can do width for width and then divide it by 2. That is pretty much the center. And then we're gonna go with, say, I don't know, I'm gonna need a calculator for this, and we're gonna go and put it like on y equals 30, and then if I divide 30 divided by 500, I get 0.06, and then I just type in 0.06 times height, and that means it's gonna be on y equals 30 right there. Now we can continue. We actually want a button, or like 4 buttons, multiple buttons. So we're gonna go ahead and create a new function called button, because it's easier than just drawing it over and over again. Now the first thing that I'm gonna give every button is an X position. Then I'm gonna give it a Y coordinate position. Then I'm gonna say width, but we cannot use width, so we need to use size, like something like this. So I'm gonna use size X. Then I'm gonna go with size Y, and then I want it to contain text, so string and then text. Open bracket, close bracket, and it needs to be a void. There we go. Now we're actually gonna go ahead and copy these things over because I wanted to have the same size and the same color as the other text. Now we're actually going to take these down. We want our button to have, say, this color. This is cyan. And then we want to go with a rectangle. And we want the rectangle to be, it's going to be on the X, Y, and it's going to have the size X as a width and the size Y as height. And then I want the text to be right in the middle of the button. So we're actually gonna go ahead and type text under here, and we're gonna select an X position. The X position is gonna be, it's gonna be X plus size X, then Y plus size Y. That is gonna put it at the end of the box, which means that here we have to put 0.5 times, and here too. And then it actually needs the text itself, which we already initialized up there, and there we go. So if I call a button from here now, and we say button, we want to put it on, say, X equals 100. No, actually, we're going to put it right. Say we're going to make it 200 pixels long. So it's going to be on the X position width divided by 2 minus 100 divided by 500 is 0.2. So we're gonna go with 0.2 times width, and then we're gonna go with, say we want to put it at 100, so 0.2 times height. And then we want it to be 200 pixels, which is 0.4 times width. And I want it to be 0.1 times height, which is 50 pixels on the height. And we want it to say 8 as a string. And I missed something, x, y, width, height. Integer, 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 integer. Oh yeah, these actually need to be floats. I confused it. These need to be float coordinates rather than integers. There we go. Now it works. Now if I run this, there we go. Now we actually want the text to be in black so we can see it. So we're quickly gonna do that. And there we go. We got our first button. If I repeat this process now, I can create 4 buttons. So we just copy this and we're gonna say like 40 pixels in between. I'm gonna go with 8, 12, 16, and 20. And then we want to change the y coordinates. So we're gonna go 0.2 times height is this, plus the width of this one. So we're gonna go copy this one over. And if I go into the height and I say plus this, and then we just duplicate this for the next one, 1, 2, and for the next one, we just duplicate this one, which is this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we just 1, 2. That was a bit too much, so we only fit a few buttons on screen. Hold up. We're actually going to change these values a bit and say, I'm going to take this one out, put that in there. Now they're overlapping. And we just want to add one of these. Like that. And then we don't want this one to be way down here, so we're gonna take we're gonna say 0.05. That's that one. And then we need to move this one a bit down, so we're just simply gonna go copy this and go to the first button and change the height down there. There we go. So now we have our 4 buttons. Now let's actually move this text a bit down because that's very, very high. Let's do this. That's better. Now we want it so that when we click a button, we actually move over to our next menu. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add an if mouse pressed, which means that we're pressing the mouse. And then we want to go with and we want our mouse X to be between this X position, our Y to be between this, and the same for the other buttons. So we want to go with, we're going to take this as our X reference point, and mouse X is bigger equals this position, and mouse X is smaller equals this position, which is going to be the starting position, plus the width of the button, which is this one right here. Oops, we need to put a plus right there. And then we want to go ahead and do the same thing on the Y position. So we want to go ahead and select this one as a starting point. So go with mouse Y bigger equals this, and mouse Y smaller equals this, and then plus the height of the button, which is this one right here. Okay, if we put that in there, we open a bracket, close a bracket, go down. Now we wanted to say delay. I wanted to delay 100 milliseconds before continuing, and then I wanted to put the level to 1. Now we just quickly go ahead and type in here else, and we say background 0, so it clears everything. And we forgot something there. And right there. And that should pretty much be it. There we go. If I click here now, we go to the next menu. Perfect. Now we need to copy this one over 2, 3, 4 times. But now we need to change the y coordinates. So that's pretty simple. We just go ahead and take this y position for the second button, which is 1, 2. So this is our second one, mouse X, mouse Y bigger than this. And then mouse Y smaller than this, plus the width of the second button. The width of the second button is this one right here. There we go. Just take that one out. That was incorrect. That was incorrect. Okay, so we put that there. Where's the width of the button? There's the width of the button. There we go. Control C, Control V. What is that thing doing there? Why am I copying that? Oh, okay, I get it. So we go at Control Z, just do that. We click here now, we get that. Okay. If I take this function out, just to be sure that we haven't actually confused anything. If I click here, nothing happens. Yep. Okay. So that works now. Now we're gonna do the same thing for the other 2 buttons, but I'm gonna do that off video. So what we want to do now is whenever you click one of these buttons, we want the length of the password to change. So we're gonna create a new integer up here that we're gonna be calling length. Now it cannot be called length, so we're gonna call it password length. And that's that. So if we click the first button, we want our password length to be 8. If we click our second button, we want our password length to be 12. If we click our third button, we want our password length to be 16. And if we click our fourth button, we want it to be 20. Okay. So if I go ahead and copy the stuff from over here right now, so we already created the length. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna copy all of this over. And we're gonna put it down here in a new method. And we have to import that thing again. So we copy this one over here. And if I now go ahead and say, we call the method, so we go ahead and say text. And we take the same, no, we take the middle. So let's go ahead with text align again. Center, center. We go with fill 0. And we take the text size just in case we decide to change it somewhere else, so it doesn't change here too. And then we go ahead and say width divided by 2, height divided by 2. And we're actually gonna have to put the text in here. So the text is already a string. So all we have to do is say password. And then we need to tell it to use the length. So we say password length. And then we just close the bracket right here. So if I click this now, and I click here, nothing happens. That is because this one is in black, it needs to be in white. And if I click here now, there we go, it works. Now let's make this whole thing a bit prettier. Let's say right under here, we're gonna go ahead and say fill 0. Actually, this one needs to be drawn above because processing always draws the first things first and then the rest. So we're going to go with fill 0. Then we're going to go ahead and create an ellipse. And we're going to put the stroke to the same color, to the same cyan color as before. And we're going to create this ellipse right in the middle. So first you set the center point, which is going to be width divided by 2, height divided by 2. For x and y in the middle, and then we go with width, which is the width of the ellipse, and then with height. And if we run this now, you're gonna see we get this beautiful shape. If I add a button down here now, we're gonna go ahead and do that now. And here we're gonna add else if level equals 1. And then we're gonna go ahead and type down here else. And then I want to create a button. I want the button to be right underneath this. So we're gonna go ahead and type in this x. No, actually we're gonna take them from here. This x coordinate. And we're gonna put it right here. Then I want the button to be underneath this text. So we're gonna go with height divided by 2. Plus I'm gonna go ahead and say 0.25 times height. Then I want it to be just as wide as before, so we're gonna copy these two over. And then I wanted to say generate. So if I run this now, we need to take this one out. And if we click here now, we have a generate button. We want to move it a bit upwards, so we're gonna go ahead and change this one to 0.12. I click here now. See, there's the button. Now we want this button, when clicked, to actually stop the function so that we can actually take a look. So take a look at what we have. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say up here we're gonna add like a main menu button later. I actually want to move this button downwards a bit, so I'm gonna go with 1.3. Now we're gonna go ahead and add another if function. If mouse pressed, and mouse x is bigger equals this coordinate, which is this one, and mouse x smaller equals the start coordinate plus the width of the button, which is this one, and mouse x or y bigger equals the y coordinate of the top left corner, which is this one, and mouse y smaller equals the start position plus the height of the button. Then I wanted to actually go ahead. Is there an error? No, there is not. We want to go ahead and go with level equals 3. And that's that. So actually, we're going to select 2. We don't need 3 yet. And we're going to go ahead and type in else if level equals 2. And then I just wanted to cover up this button. So at the location of this button, we're simply going to go ahead and say this. We're going to go ahead and type in fill 0 so that it actually overwrites it. Then we want this one gone. And we want to put this one a little bit above. So we're going to go with 1. Actually, we don't need to do that because the button is black, so it's just going to cover it. So if I go ahead and click here now, if I click here, there we go. We get that. Now this button should not be black. So we're actually going to just simply take this one and we're just going to leave the button. We don't need the button. We're just going to put that there, just select these coordinates and put them in here instead. There we go. So if I run this now, get this, we get that, we get that. Now we just need to set the stroke to 0 so that we actually get rid of that. And there we go. It disappeared and there's our new password. I just noticed that is incorrect. So we did mess something up because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so we got 20 characters. The reason for that is if mouse pressed and we did not take these 2 out. We need to take these 2 out. So these 2 were checking for the same position. There we go. Now we got 8 characters. If we run this again and we select the 12, we get 12 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 12 characters. So now we just want to add a main menu button right above. So we're gonna go and I'm actually only gonna make this a text and I'm gonna put it at the same height as before. So I'm just gonna copy this one over. Gonna close this bracket and then we're gonna say in here main menu. Gonna go and fill 0. Actually 255. So it's white. Click here. There's our main menu. We want to put it a bit underneath, so let's go with 15 instead of 5. And there we go. Now I want that if you click this space, we return to the main menu. So in order to do that, we're just simply going to add an if function. And we're going to say if mouse pressed and mouse X. And we're just simply going to select, hold up. I want to see if it's at the same coordinates as the button. Yeah, so we can select, actually we can take the button coordinates for the XY. So we say if mouse pressed and mouse X bigger equals this. And mouse X smaller equals this plus the width, which is this one right here. And mouse Y bigger equals this position. And mouse Y smaller equals this position plus the height of the button. Now I actually confused this. This is incorrect. It must be a different Y position, so this is our actual Y position. It's this one. mouse Y bigger equals this, and we're gonna put a 5 in here. We're actually gonna put 0.8, and we're gonna go with this one, and we're gonna say this one. Oops, holy hell. I'm gonna go with this one plus 0.13. Then I wanted to delay the function 100 milliseconds, and then I wanted to set the level to 0. So we return to the main menu. We're gonna copy this one and we're gonna put it down here because we also want to be able to return from here. And if I click the run button now, see this. If I click here, click generate, and I go back to the main menu. That is incorrect. The reason for that is mouse X plus 0.4, mouse Y 0.06. This one's incorrect. This whole thing is incorrect. So if we take the text and we take this one, this is the width, this is the height of the button. Mouse Y bigger equals this position, and mouse Y smaller equals this position. Plus the width of the button, which is, click there, it goes back, and if I click down there, it also goes back. So this is just some confusion with the positionings. I'll get this figured out. So yeah, that would be it for now. So we actually got a working password generator. If we hit the generate button with taking these two stupid functions out of here, should be able to get a password of our desired length. There we go. And yeah, I will actually get this figured out with the function, and then I'll post the code on GitHub so you can take a look at it. I will also put the functions in for the last two buttons, and then I'll see you in the next video where we'll be adding more customization so we can, like, say, take out specific characters that we don't want, or choose a custom password length, and so on and so forth, along with like toggleable buttons. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't yet, then make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.